Hi, how you doing? Welcome to Coffee Chat with Angie. I'm Angie, and yes, I'm transgender, and yes, I have a very masculine voice, but hey, I'm just doing the best I can, just like everybody else. Oh boy, just like everybody else. Here we talk about eco-friendly ideas fighting against the shitstem of the bully dozer. Hello, how you doing? Okay, my guide to being an ally. An ally is like a friend with the LGBTQ AI plus person, in this case a trans woman. How to be friends with a trans woman. Did I just mumble? I think I did. I live a... Never mind. I'm trying to stop giving so much gosh damn information about myself. You know? Oh my gosh. Okay. About how I'm trying. This is my effort to try to help you, being an LGBT person. So not. This isn't for like. Certainly not a MAGA person or even a Republican or anything. I guess in some cases it could be a Republican, but it would have to be like a progressive thinker. So by now, if you're watching my videos, you know I'm a Rasta, my own brand of Rasta. And that's because it's like Christianity. There's a lot of different ways to interpret it and stuff. And why wouldn't it be that way? Why wouldn't it be that way? That's because that's the way it just is. Um, it's an inward journey. It's a personal thing, and you can't. No one else can do it for you, even if you pay them money and they're super good at it and stuff. What people can do is help you. Oh yeah, that's what this is about, helping out. Right now I'm thinking, wait, why am I talking about this? Lost my train of thought a little bit, maybe. Hopefully that made sense. I'm not sure, but so the people out there, like you'll see people that they have all the right intentions and everything, and they just want to know. They want to know, like how to be an ally, how to be a friend. So okay, so first of all, the LGBTQIA plus. So it was where it came from and all that is I can leave the Stonewall incident. I think it was called. I can't remember right now, but I'll leave a link to a documentary about it in the description box, because that's not what direction this is going. This is just assuming that the thing LGBT, and that means so that's how it started out, and then later the IA plus was added on just when people were already confused enough. The more was added on to it right when they were starting to understand it. So like, oh man, I got used to just saying LGBT, and now I have to say all these other things. So some of you are so young that you're like, oh what, you might just think that it's because it's too long and that's why it's hard for them. Maybe there's people like that. That seems possible. I don't know, but so just there's going to be more people that know what LGBT is. And in a way that makes sense to me. That's I don't know how offensive it is if that's all you say and you can't remember the rest and you just say LGBT. But just think about the logic: lesbian, gay, LGB, bisexual, and transgender. That's just like those are kind of like the umbrella departments. And of so what do they all have in common? They all have in common not sex, especially IA plus, when you add that on it, QIA plus, queer, intrasex, and asexual, and then plus and just anything in between, because everything's a spectrum. Uh, so my area is transgender and queer, and that gender's a spectrum. Not that queers. I don't even know how that works for it. It can be confusing as a trans woman too, because a trans woman, like, A transvestite, vestir, the Latin root means to change your clothes. So transvestite, to change your clothes, you know. So like you dress one way during the day and then you dress a different way for sexual reasons at night, or if you're a drag queen, for performative reasons. See, drag queen, performative. Transvestite, change your clothes, sexual. Transgender, you know, trans, to you're changing gender. So transgender is an umbrella, and under that is transsexual. If you've had bottom surgery like me, you've changed your sex. So that can be controversial to some people. But it's the difference. What's the difference between the word sex and gender? And then queer, you know, or just non-binary. Non-binary means, you know, you don't want to decide if you're male or female. You're just somewhere in between, and it is what it is, you know. Non-binary. And then queer is just you know, there's no explaining it, and it would just like, do you really want them to explain it? Just that it's, I guess, I don't know, but for those things are, queer is confusing for me because I'm not I don't do it for sexual reasons. I don't do it for any reason that I'm aware of, and there was no beginning, you know, there was no eureka moment or anything. There was the first moment when I learned about what the word transgender was and about transgender people, and then instantly I knew that I would never be the same again. As you know, it was kind of like turning a light on in a room, you know, and you can't unsee it anymore, you know, type thing. Uh, so like for me, inside my own head, like in my dreams, I don't change into a different person, you know. I don't want it. I don't need, if I go, yeah, I don't want to give too much information about myself, you know. Like if I go too long without plucking my chin hairs and the little bit of that, there's never a time, no matter what I do, that there'll be like 3 o'clock shadow. I don't get, there's like done electrolysis, so there's no, you know what I mean. There's no, you know, so there's no like how the people that hate us most, they'd want you to think that at night I'm wearing like one of those like wife beater white shirts and like man pants like pulled up over it, and I'm shaving, you know. I've got like 3 o'clock shadow and I'm smoking a cigar at the same time, you know. That's what they would want you to think, but there's never moments like that. My eyeliner's tattooed on, so even if I'm not wearing makeup, I just and dreadlocks, I don't do my hair, so I really just I don't change, you know. So that's why it's confusing to me. I'm just what I am, and that's what I've always been since I was born. So recently I had that video I did about having that Christian, those Christians approach me a few episodes ago. One thing he did was he said, and he said, let me also tell you, he said, and the Lord wants you to know, he spoke for the Lord, he said, and the Lord wants you to know that pain you felt when you were like, oh, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years old, God isn't mad at you. God loves you. You're wrong. God isn't mad at you. You know? Which at first I was like, oh, what the hell? What just happened? He's like, it was a little bit weird, you know, the thing. He's like speaking for God, and like it's a little bit strange, a little grandiose for me. But sometimes, you know, people reveal things about themselves. Basically, what I'm saying is, it just might be that they've researched transgender people, because the common thing with transgender people is that we first start having gender issues about age 4, and sure enough, some of my first thoughts about that subject were at age 4. In my case, it's easy to remember because when I was 5, I moved to a different place. So if the memory is where we lived when I was 4, then I know that it's when I was 4. So in my case, I know especially, and blah blah blah, a bunch of other things that we probably all have in common. But it really isn't like that. It wasn't. I grew up with sisters, and I've told this story so many times it sickens me. Not on this channel. I mean, but it's just like, yeah, there was like indoor girls and outdoor girls, and like this whole thing. It sounds so stupid because I've already said it too many times. Bugs me because it's not really a thing. It was just, I guess, like the part that really stuck, that means something to me, is that I really loved Treasure Island. That's kind of what it turned into. I was like, oh well, pirates literally do all the same things that girls do. They wear tights, they wear makeup, they wear wigs. So wearing wigs has never appealed to me. I just want long hair, and I've never wanted short hair. I had short hair for a second and wanted it a long time ago. But anyway, so like the thing is, so I'll try to make this quicker. If I've been talking for a long time, where's the time? Yeah, I probably better start wrapping it up. So basically, the key is so just first of all, as far as the alphabet people and all that stuff, those complaints that I hear so much, just LGBT, and then don't explain that that's all you know. Just say that, you'll be fine. If you're an incredible person in every other way, but you forgot the IA plus thing and it's really that hard for you, it's just intersex is the real saying hermaphrodite, having both male and female genitalia, is out of date. It's intersex. Asexual. Yes, there are asexual people. Babylon tends to always make it sound like everybody's heterosexual. Period. That's it. One word. The entire subject of sexuality is a one fucking word for them. Heterosexual. Heterosexual. Period. Then they take their gun out. Anybody? Anybody have anything else to add to that sentence? That's better. So LGBT is all the other things that weren't allowed just then. IA plus is just so QIA plus. See, I can't even do it. So especially from my perspective as a trans woman, I'm like it's like, wow, like, because I'm like, oh well, I don't understand it either. You know what I mean? Basically is what I'm saying. But there's nothing wrong with it, and I bet you there's always been queer people. I mean, that's just the way it works. And so the next thing to talk about is just simply the most powerful part of this video, the word evidence. It's real simple. Real simple. It's if you're going to be a jerk about it, you better be on the side of evidence, So you get, like, every time I do a video, there's someone that says, are you a man or a woman? Or there's only two genders, like, oh my gosh, dude. Those are religious opinions, and they're not even good religious opinions. Like, read the Bible yourself and, like, listen to at least one or two Bible scholars for at least a second or something. Gosh damn, they're not even good guesses. So you're walking around trying to enforce this idea that isn't even a good guess. And why should it be like, it's just so stupid. You know what I mean? So just, like, slap yourself a few times in the face and just, like, give yourself a wake-up call. It's simple. You've been lied to. That's the Bible Bible scholars teach this. The Bible doesn't even talk about LGBT people. It's just recent ago that we started using that term. The whole thing's just it's just that they're like, they think the Bible's univocal and that it's the word of an imaginary man in the sky and a bunch of things that can't be shown with evidence, which is fine. First Amendment, believe away, do it, believe, fly away, fly away, fly away. But enforce it and insist and be a jerk about it. So then, just understand. So I guess a lot of being an ally is understanding the adversary. Understand. So those people that are like that. So in every one of my videos, I deal, not every one of my videos, but really often I deal with that, and I will forever. There's only two those voices. There's only two genders. It's like, oh my, like I haven't heard that before. I've definitely heard that a gazillion times. And a bunch of other things. There was a 3-year period of my life. I did the math. I estimated it was well over 3,000 times I was propositioned for sex. And I don't mean I had sex. I mean, like people thought I was a prostitute, a sex worker. You know, um, it's that was early in my transition. Uh, I got like about 1 to 3 times a day, every day for 3 years. Do the math. Um, a man thought would approach me. It was crazy. Um, that's really scary, in this world when you're transgender, getting in a stranger's car. That's stupid, So it's just that. It's just this harsh world where you're a political pawn, and and their side of the argument, they don't even care enough about you to ever have done any research, and they actually think that the devils tricked the scientists that study biology and stuff. Gender's a spectrum. Get over it, dude. There's always been transgender people. Get over it. There's transgender animals. Get the fuck over it. Those are the facts. The things that you say that you're a jerk about, not you, the ally, but the adversary, is that's, you can believe it, but that's not the side of logic and science and facts and anything that can be observed or anything, And gender and sex are two different things. And that's not a complicated debate where people debate it back and forth. It's just, they're two different words. Why wouldn't they have two different meanings? It's so stupid. If they don't have two meanings, then that means there should only be one word, dummy. It's just so stupid. Why shouldn't there be two meanings, dummy? It's just they're never on the side of and the Jordan Petersons and the Ben Shapiro's, the Candace Owens, the Kate. What was that one? I haven't seen her in a long time. The one, the famous people for hating transgender people and was the stay up pacing back and forth late at night because they're worried what direction everybody's combing their pubic hairs. Those people that are experts at that. Watch some intelligent people. There's many videos where they pick them apart, and you'll realize, wow, I was tricked. Like Jordan Peterson, gosh dang, he just has a big vocabulary. He has a degree in something that's not usually ever related to anything that's happening, but because he sits that way and he squints and he uses big words and everything, but he uses the same approach every time, So it depends what you mean by you, and it depends what you mean by drink, and it depends what you mean by lemonade, and it means by would you like to, and it means, it's like, gosh damn, dude, and with a bunch of fancy words, about I didn't even use one fancy word, throw about 10 fancy unnecessary words in there, just random ones, pick it up, and then that's what he says. It's just like, oh damn, dude, that doesn't make him right. And the problem with the whole thing, the reason our adversaries exist is because of people's laziness, because they don't take the time, they don't care enough about anyone but themselves. They're so locked in their own little echo chamber, own little world, that their own little bubble, that they never muster up the empathy to ever see anything from another perspective, and so why else would someone think their way is the voice of God, and that they would enforce it? See what I mean? So an emotionally intelligent, mature person should be able to see what a fool they're making of themselves, so therefore that, like a lot of people might miss it, but there's going to be those people that can see what you're exposing, what those our bad guys are exposing about themselves, so the other thing is misgendering. Yeah, so early in my transition, I used to misgender myself, and now I don't misgender myself. Like in my own head, when I'm imagining, like my mom would never use female pronouns, for example. She's a conservative Republican Mormon, voted for Trump person. Uh, I'm not gonna be converting her to. She'll never look outside of that bubble I was just describing for sure, and that goes for like everybody she in her world probably, or everybody she knows, um, not literally. So if I'm a so if in my head I'm saying what my mom would say, but mom, you this and this and this, and then I'm imagining my mom telling me back, and da ba da ba da ba ba, when I'm doing when my in my voice, the voice in my head that's her voice, when those moments happen, I uses male pronouns, it calls me he and him and that, um, etc. Like if it's a total, like if I'm imagining some neo-Nazi skinhead, I'm in my head. I'm imagining them calling me it's like, oh, jeez, for sure. Here come the he and hims. Um, but most people have their emotional maturity about them and wits about them enough to know that it's just common decency to be polite. It's not. So that's why. Did you know that's why babies cry? That is. That's why the Buddha shaves his head. One of the reasons, to look like a baby. You go back to being a baby after you've transcended the 7 stages of ego maturity. You realize, so that's why a baby cries, because they still think they're one with the universe. Ego is to separate from the whole, to say, to marginalize people and stuff like that. That's ego, to separate from the whole. And to be racist and stuff. So a good person can figure out that being polite is definitely the intelligent way to do it. An intelligent person has a certain kind of dignified politeness about him. Like you don't need to be walking around the earth converting everyone you come into contact with to your religion and your politics everywhere you go all the time. What? Come on. That's so stupid. And it's almost always the same religion that these people are born into. So you're just lucky enough to be born into the one religion, and that's what the religion teaches. And the only proof is, there's no evidence, but the only proof is that the book itself says you better, or else you'll suffer forever. You can murder someone. You can do anything. And that's not nearly as bad as just not believing that this is true. It's like, what? Without questioning it, have some faith, and don't question it. And there's nothing you can do about it. And it's just no wonder that these people, they could benefit from just saying, even though it's breaking one of the 10 Commandments, worship a different God, and then just experience the cognitive dissonance and experience some of the things that stumble through some of that stuff. And find yourself defending a different God and see what that's like. You know what I mean? And feel yourself develop that relationship and the vocabulary and the lifestyle and everything that goes with it. And you would realize that it's just everything's a perspective, and these things are just controlled illusions. You know. And so as far as the pronouns, just don't worry about it so much. Any transgender person, listen to any transgender person talk about it that I've ever seen, says it's more about the intent. It's and like learn how to just figure those things out for yourself. It's the same for. It doesn't matter what your thing is. It's always the same. It isn't. Maybe you're heavy or skinny or black or Asian or athletic or in a wheelchair, or we all are one of those type of things, right? So the big thing is that you should listen to episode 1 of Coffee Chat with Angie, and I'll leave, of course, a link to the description. Every episode of Coffee Chat with Angie has a link to the playlist of all the episodes. But yeah, episode 1 is my one where I talk about narcissism and how there's a narcissist epidemic right now. That's a big deal. There's a narcissist epidemic right now. And so the thing about narcissists is, to them, everything's a competition. Everything. When they recodify it into their own head language, they've figured out how to make every situation and every part of life a competition. But it, if gender is a spectrum, I'm biologically, therefore, transgender. I'm biologically transgender. A cis, C, letter I, S, cis. It means the same gender you were born with, you're happy with now. A cisgendered woman, or a cis woman, or a cis man, a cisgendered woman, or a cisgendered man, just different ways to say the same thing, just so it makes as much sense as possible. You know, is that's a biological thing. They're biologically that thing, and because gender is a spectrum, it's that makes it biological. Do people not know what the word biological means? You know, because like I have boobs, that's biological. They're like, oh yeah, but you had a boob job. Yes, I did, but the hormones make you grow boobs, and when they're done growing after your second puberty or female puberty, when your boobs are done growing, then you can get a boob job, and I did. You know, but it's still a boob job. Boob is still a boob. It's a biological thing. You know, like my friend said, slap them in the face with your boob next time they say that. But you know, and then I have a vagina. It's different than a cis woman vagina. A biological cis woman's vagina is a little bit different than a biological transgender woman like me's vagina that's had a transsexual that's had bottom surgery, the sex change surgery. You know, but it's still my vagina is a biological thing. It can be observed, and you know, bio means life, and logical, it's logical life. You know, is this logical life? No, it's not alive. It's a stuffed animal. You know, there's nothing biological about it. It's all just man-made things and stuff like that. You know, um, the thing inside my boob job isn't biological, but the boob around it is. You know, the boob itself is a biological thing. Leave it alone. You know, or don't. I'm just kidding. But so understand that most of the reason these things are happening, and the reason people don't understand and struggle so much is because, you know, we're all a little bit narcissists, but there's a narcissist epidemic, and whether you're narcissists or not, we're encouraged to be narcissists because of capitalism. You know, we're encouraged to always, you know, be able to cash in on every moment, and everything's like this business transaction. Our friendships, our moments with people, and you know, and everything's. If you're a wise person, you're made $1 million. You know, everything's a business transaction. You know, that whole, you know, everything's a competition, and everything's like a tool for your own needs and things like that. You know, that's considered a good thing. It's, some women are turned on. It's to some people it's sexy, and some men are turned. You know, like I don't know what, but you know, it's a thing. So just if you want to be an ally, basically the nutshell of what all this means is that if you want to be an ally, then do the research. Are there transgender animals? Or don't just believe me because I said so. And by the way, do you know what the word snob is? The opposite. These narcissists are also snobs. A snob is the opposite of a free thinker. A free thinker is someone that doesn't need to hurry up and ask their social group what to believe. They can just figure it out for themselves because they're free thinking. Whereas a snob is someone that can't free think at all. They have to always check with their religion or their social group to see what they think about everything, and all their opinions are exactly what they're supposed to be according to their social group. That by definition is a snob. I can leave a link in the description box to an expert talking about that. You know, so just apply some of the basic do unto others, the golden rule, you know, some of the basic things and stuff like that. Just basically just trans rights are human rights, you know, and just realize and be excited about if you're on the good guy side, the allies side for transgender people, then you're on the side of science and archaeology and facts and history and evidence and biology and you know, why shouldn't there be a word for how I'm different than a cis man? Like I have no body hair, I have all the things that come with female hormones, you know, because I have female hormones, because I do the female hormones thing, boobs, vagina, I live a life, I dress and live as a female and everything like that. Why shouldn't there be a word for me? And why, if we're all, if there's not a narcissist epidemic, because the person that just is telling them, saying I'm full of shit, that's standing next to you, then notice that they also. Anyway, I should end this. It's getting too long. So the nutshell is do your research, be a free thinker, don't be a snob, apply some basic politeness and things like that to even transgender people. And what's weird is they're most of the time they're Christians. Jesus coined the most powerful phrases for those kind of things that I even know about, and I'm not even Christian. But wow, he sure says some good ones that you might be able to use to help you through that. But did you know that a part of narcissism is to not really be part of a religion, but to use it as a tool for your needs? Like I said, everything's a competition, everything is a transaction, and you need to get something out of everything personally. And they don't just give so that other people can benefit. They're always getting something out of it, you know. And of course, the whole Mother Teresa thing, you know, that she gave, but it was because she knew that giving was exactly how she would be getting, you know, giving because you know you'll get, you know, but but hopefully that would be true, because it feels good to be the good guy, you know, and to doing these things. It teaches you how. It teaches you how to get to know the part of you that's a good person, that loves people and treats people nice, you know? Because if you think all you are is a mean person that's this bigot that hates people and doesn't want to even learn how to, you know, I mean, so most of those people, if I converted Christian, if I said, I repent and come unto Jesus and repent for being transgender and you were right all along, there's just two genders, they'd take me in and everything like that. That's so narcissistic. That is so cruel. They don't even know if they're right, because it's just such bullshit. And they would ruin my life because supposedly they're certain about something that they're definitely not certain about, because they don't know anything about the subjects that they claim to know about. Come on, you guys, that is so cruel. You know, at least know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay, you have just listened to another video by The Spiral Times Presents. Thank you.